Hey everybody, it's RRPG here. It's March 16th, 2018, and welcome to RRPG Side-Quests. First of all, I want to apologize to all of you for getting in this video so late. I had to work mostly all day today, and finding a news story was really hard for me to come across, as really nothing really piqued my interest. But it wouldn't be until just a little bit ago this news story just popped out after a live stream, and I couldn't even hold up on reporting it to all of you. But yeah, it has me very excited to actually want to talk about this, so let's go ahead and talk about it. Now, before I actually talk about it, I just wanted to make a mention of Xseed Games. They are a prominent localization team or localization company who put out some really great Japanese RPGs and other niche Japanese games that we got over here in the West. I mean, they put out or published and localized most of the Ys games, and even the most of the Legend of Heroes games, which I am currently doing a live stream series on Trails of Cold Steel, the first one. And they even put out, or are going to put out, the Nintendo Switch version of Shantae Half Genie Hero for Way Forward Technologies, as Xseed Games is the publisher for that version alone. And speaking of Ys, and speaking of Xseed Games, the company did announce during this week that they are going to be announcing 3 mystery games that are in the process of localization at this time. And today, during a live stream, they actually announced one of those games that they are localizing. And believe it or not, if you are a Ys fan, and if you really enjoyed Ys Memories of Celceta on the PlayStation Vita and wished that it would come out on PC, or if you haven't played on the PlayStation Vita but do have a PC and wish for it to come out on there, then guess what? You're in luck. Because a PC version of that game, Ys Memories of Celceta, is coming out this summer on Steam. And of course, I think Humble Bundle, as well as goodoldgames.com, and all those, other game or all those other sites that really like to distribute digital PC releases. So yeah, that's very exciting to hear right there. But since that game is coming out on the PC very, very soon, I might as well go ahead and talk about it, or at least list to you all what Gematsu had to say about this news story. And speaking of which, Hyde Incorporated, the team who ported Ys 7 from the PSP to the PC all those years ago, I think either a couple years ago or a few years ago. Yeah, they are the same people who are porting Memories of Celceta to the PC this time around. And that's a good thing, because a lot of people really did like Ys 7 as much as Ys, the Oath in Felghana, and some of those others. But anyway, let's go ahead and hear what Gematsu has to say. Not Silicon Error this time, but Gematsu. Xseed Games is bringing Ys Memories of Celceta to the PC this summer, the company announced. Ys Memories of Celceta was first released for the PlayStation Vita in 2012. A China-only PC version was released in 2015. The newly announced PC version of Ys Memories of Celceta will be ported by the same team that handled the PC port of Ys 7. It will receive numerous enhancements, including improved visuals with a wide range of HD resolutions, unlocked frame rates, fully customizable control bindings, mouse support, and more. And here's the full overview with what Xseed Games had to give towards their announcement of the PC version of this game. Knowing nothing but his name, Adol Kristen awakens to find himself in the town of Kasnan, a bustling frontier village at the edge of an endless sea of trees and untamed wilderness. Bereft of past and purpose, he is left to wander the town until a thief who claims to know him winds up joining him on a sudden mission to rid the local mine of monsters. This unexpected quest reawakens Adol's instincts as an accomplished swordsman, and together with the thief Durin, his adventures attract the attention of a Roman army general stationed in the town. Impressed with their skills, she enlists the pair to assist in mapping the Great Forest of Celceta, a task which many have attempted but none have ever returned from. Far from the frontier's edge, Adol and Durin will have to brave the dangers of Celceta while constantly keeping an eye out for any clues that may help Adol recover his lost memories. More importantly, he must use his best judgment to decide whom he can trust and who is using his memory loss in order to deceive him. Ooh, spooky. Revisit the setting from the Japanese cult favorite Ys 4 and explore the land and characters of Celceta in a whole new way with Ys Memories of Celceta on PC. Originally released on the PlayStation Vita in 2013, the PC remaster of the title features support for a wide range of HD resolutions, multiple fixed frame rate options as well as an unlocked frame rate, customizable control bindings, mouse support, and much more for Adol's most immersive and visually impressive trek through the land of Celceta to date. Explore one of the most expansive locales in the series' history, complete with a robust and detailed mapping system that includes customizable waypoints, to keep adventurers from losing themselves while exploring the many secrets hidden within the wilderness. The now familiar multi-character party system and real-time combat with different weapon types first introduced in Ys 7 makes a return in Ys Memories of Celceta to deliver fast-paced yet strategic action punctuated with meaningful player choice. The PC release will also feature the fan-favorite Boss Rush mode, pitting Adol alone or as part of a full party of characters against an increasingly difficult lineup of bosses in a race against time. So yeah, that's the announcement right there from what Gematsu had to say, or what Xseed Games had to say in general. Coming from this announcement, yeah, I'm definitely very glad that I can now experience Ys Memories of Celceta on the PC for the first time, even though it is coming out this summer. Granted, I have not played Memories of Celceta on the PlayStation Vita, as the only thing PlayStation Vita related that I have is PlayStation TV, whereas most of the PlayStation Vita games can be played on there, while there are some that cannot be played, like Uncharted Golden Abyss, as well as Little Big Planet Vita, and some of those others that use the back of the PlayStation Vita for essential gameplay necessities. And Memories of Celceta on the PC, coming soon, it definitely has me very hyped and wanting to play it. Now, as I said, I have not played Memories of Celceta, as I do own The Oath in Felghana, as well as E6, The Ark of Nafishdom, which are both released on the PC as well, even though they came out on, at least, the Ark of Nafishdom originally came out on the PlayStation 2 and also the PlayStation Portable, which The Oath in Felghana also managed to get a re-release of that as well. But, and I love The Oath in Felghana. It's definitely one of my favorite games, and my favorite adventure action RPGs of all time, or action-adventure RPGs of all time, just because of how fast-paced it is, and how much it likes to declare itself as a Legend of Zelda clone, or probably like the best Legend of Zelda clone that you could get your hands on. So it's just a matter of time before we get this game to finally fall into our laps when it releases on Steam, Humble Bundle, as well as goodolgames.com or GOG.com. From those two games that still have not been announced yet, hopefully Trails of Cold Steel 3 is the next game that they're going to announce, or one of those three games that are going to be announced during this week, or what's coming up left with what Xseed Games has to announce that they are localizing for. And granted, it's been about a couple years since Trails of Cold Steel 2 released on the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita, and of course we got the PC port of the first Trails of Cold Steel last year, and this Valentine's Day with Trails of Cold Steel 2, so hopefully it's just a matter of time before they start localizing the third game, so that way we can get that in our hands. And then with the fourth and final game in the Erebonian Saga taking place, or releasing in Japan at the end of this year, hopefully we will get that game to release over here stateside, or at least in the West, by 2019 or 2020 at best. But I'm keeping my fingers crossed on that. Hopefully we will actually get it. Which I know we will, but hopefully it won't be that much of a wait, because I really do like the Legend of Heroes games. Really deep turn-based JRPGs right there. And Nihon Falcom knows how to put out some really good games, even though they are primarily niche. But you see what I mean. Anyway, going back to my previous video where I talked about Geralt of Rivia coming to Soul Calibur 6, that he was announced as a guest character for that game coming out on PS4, Xbox One, and PC later this year. I had both Fighter Chaos and Christian Lopez comment on this video like they did in the last video. And just so you guys know, make sure if you're watching this video that you do leave your comments in the comment section below, so that way within the next video after this one, when I come back on Monday, then I'll be able to pick the one that I choose from the comment section and give you guys a highlight and put your channel in the description. Anyway, this is what Fighter Chaos has to say. I'm not too into Soul Calibur competitively, but I feel most obligated to stream CS6 on top of Tekken 7 now. Noctis and Tekken, and Geralt and Soul Calibur. The RPGs are taking over the fighting games, XD. And then Christian Lopez commented on his post, and where he says that he's very excited about that too, and how he finds it to be ironic that Persona 4 actually got its own fighting game called Persona 4 Arena, and then it got the update called Ultimax or Ultimax or whatever you call it, and now most of the characters from Persona 4 Arena are making their way into BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. But yeah, it's very interesting to see how there are characters from awesome RPGs, whether they be Western or from the Japanese front, that are making their way into the fighting games, because fighting games in this day and age, they're very, very popular, possibly even more so than in the 1990s. I mean, we got a lot of great games that come out of all different types, and seeing how passionate that the fighting game community is when it comes to these fighting games like Killer Instinct 2013, Injustice 2, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, even though I use that term loosely because the last time I checked, nobody really liked Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite because of what Disney made the game out to be, as it's more Marvel Cinematic Universe versus Capcom, because that's all it is, mostly characters from the Marvel Cinematic Universe fighting off against Capcom characters, and that's really bad because you figure that other fan favorites like Wolverine, Deadpool, and some of those others that haven't even been back after Marvel vs. Capcom 3 would actually make a return for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, but unfortunately that's not the case. But you know, it's just good to see that fighting games still have a strong presence, even as big fighting game tournaments like EVO still have a significant influence within the esports and fighting game communities. And speaking of Christian Lopez, he also did have a comment on the last video as well, where I talked about Geralt of Rivia in Soul Calibur 6, and this is what he has to say. Given how many RPG characters are appearing in fighting games, what other RPG characters would you like to see make appearances in fighting games, and which ones? Where he says which, from which ones, he actually put in the name Witch, W-I-T-C-H instead of W-H-I-C-H, so I know what you're talking about, but fighting game characters, or RPG characters in other fighting games, oh wow. I mean, when it comes to Soul Calibur, I would like to see another character from the Tales series actually make an appearance in that game. Since Lloyd Irving was in Soul Calibur Legends on the Wii, since Soul Calibur, since that game was a Nintendo exclusive, or Nintendo Wii exclusive, and seeing how Tales of Symphonia has been very prominent on the GameCube at least, I think it'd be safe to assume that the next character we should see to appear in Soul Calibur 6, or in a fighting game, or any fighting game in general. But when it comes to Soul Calibur 6, I would definitely like to see Yuri Lowell from Tales of Vesperia, or at least Soray from Tales of Zestiria, because even though I have mixed feelings about Tales of Zestiria, I still actually like the character design of Soray in that game. Or if they want to, how about go with Velvet Crow from Tales of Berseria, because we need some more females in the fighting games, or at least more presence of females other than just JRPGs or RPGs and, you know, other genres as well. But yeah, that's who I'd like to see. Now, I did say that when it comes to Soul Calibur 6, I would definitely love to see Noctis Lucis Kylum, at least in his older and more kingly form, appear in Soul Calibur 6, so that way his aesthetic with what he appeared at the end of Final Fantasy 15 actually makes sense for that type of aesthetic in the Soul Calibur franchise, since it's a fantasy setting, weapon-based fighting game series. So yeah, I would like that. Other RPG characters, oh, I don't know, maybe, I would say Tifa in Tekken, Tifa from Final Fantasy VII appear in Tekken 7 if she ever made it as another guest character from a RPG series as that. Maybe one of the Dragon Quest characters in something very niche, like, oh, I don't know, maybe something like BlazBlue or something. Or how about Dante from Devil May Cry appear in BlazBlue, or in Guilty Gear at least. You know, there's so many possibilities. I mean, it necessarily doesn't have to be just Western RPGs or Japanese RPGs who I want to see in fighting games. It could be literally any character from any genre, but, you know, sticking on the trend for JRPGs and Western RPGs, then those are the ones that I picked out for you all. So, yeah, that's who I think should be in fighting games, but who knows, maybe they will actually appear in some of those fighting games in the future, or in newer installments as time goes on. Who knows? But anyway, guys, I hope you really enjoyed this video of this episode of RRPG Side-Quests. If you like what you see, then be sure to rate this video as well as leaving your feedback down in the comments. And as I said, if you leave your feedback down in the comments, I will definitely feature your comment in the next episode of Side-Quests, or in the next installment of Side-Quests, RRPG Side-Quests, and then your channel will also be featured in the description. And also, be sure to hit that subscribe button underneath this video, as more support from you guys will mean that more content is coming from me in the future that you are not going to find anywhere else. So, until next time, gamers, this is RRPG signing off by saying Godspeed and Game On, gamers. Peace out!